let's review this then. It's the Hotpoint Slimline SDD910. I think this falls somewhere like a Aquarius Smart, somewhere around that. Not too sure. I think this falls as an Aquarius Plus model. Or Aquarius, not too sure. Let me know down below what range this falls in. But it's basically very similar to the black Hotpoint full-size dishwasher I reviewed not that long ago. In quite a lot of ways. Right, for a look on the inside, we'll start off with the programs at the top. Right, turn it on. Comes up straight away. We've got a nice LED display. Right, so the machine is a 10-place dishwasher, meaning that you can fit 10 plates, 10 big and small plates, 10 bowls, 10 mugs, etc. etc. It also comes with 8 programs, which I think is one more than the full-size version. Anyway, we've got intensive. Don't know what temperature it runs at, and this is the problem. You look at the instruction manual and there's nothing about temperatures. No idea what they run at. There is some inclination of what they may run at with the Whirlpool version of these dishwashers, but other than that, I wish Hotpoint wrote it in, rather than me just having to try and have a guess at what everything runs at. Anyway, we've got intensive, which will run a pre-wash followed by the main wash at, I think, 70, as well as cold rinses and a hot rinse, as well as drying. Obviously made for washing heavily soiled items. Then you got auto normal. That will use a sensor to detect how much soiling is in the load, and will therefore usually dictate whether it's going to do a pre-rinse or not. If not, it will combine the pre-rinse with the main wash and flip the detergent open from that point. It runs at about 60 degrees, a low temperature, if there's less soiling detected. Pre-wash, wrong name, it's supposed to be pre-rinse. Essentially there is an 8-minute rinse cycle just to rinse off excess dirt from your items that are inside the dishwasher, especially if it's been left over several days. By keeping it wet as well, it stops anything setting on hard, making it hard to wash off. Then you've got Eco Cycle, which will give you the energy rating for this machine, which is essentially it runs it for longer at around 50 degrees to get the same as the normal cycle. Then we've got the Speed 25-minute cycle. Obviously runs at a very short low. It runs a short wash and a hot rinse, and that's it. There's no drying, there's no intermediate rinses or anything like that. It will do all that and around 40 degrees, I'd say, something like that. It's a very low temperature. Then you've got Delicate, which will run at a low temperature, again around 40 degrees. It does a normal length wash and as well as a hot rinse as well as a bit of drying and a cold rinse in between the main wash and the hot rinse. Short time, quite an interesting cycle. It will run a 60-degree wash cycle. It will run a pre-rinse first, followed by a main wash, followed by a hot rinse. So it does everything you want, followed by a shorter drying cycle in around an hour or so, an hour 20, something like that, which isn't bad for daily soiling. I say most of the time you're probably going to want to use short time most of the time. Then we've got Good Night, and there's not really much anything in the manual about it other than it's made for washing at night time. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Yeah, so we'll see what performance that does. And the other thing is with Good Night, it takes 3.5 hours, which is the longest cycle on this. Makes no sense. There's obviously no temperatures about. I'm guessing it's going to be 50 degrees or something like that. Who knows? Right, before we start going through the programs, we've got our options here. We've got delay start up to 24 hours. I love this. Look at that. I look how fast it goes when you push down on it. Obviously, you can do it more accurately by repeatedly pressing it. Then we've got half load, but interestingly, unlike the full size version, you can actually choose whether you want to wash on the top rack or on the bottom rack. And all this essentially does is directs the pump to just the one above or below. It will save water that way, not having to jet anywhere near as much water. You're probably going to save around 2 litres a cycle by doing so. But it doesn't do anything full time. Then you've got tabs, which we've noticed will add on a few minutes. What this will do is take into account your 3-in-1 tabs, which always have salt and rinse aid a little bit in, and will adjust slightly for the settings that you've preset the machine to run at for the rinse aid and the salt, usually by lowering it by 1. So if you set, say, the salt to 4 and the rinse aid to 4, it's going to run them at 3 instead and take advantage of the rinse aid, which means it will run for slightly longer on the drying and the hot rinse and stuff like that, etc. I'm going to quickly run through the program. So obviously you got program 1, which is intensive, program 2, which is your auto normal, program 3 is your pre-wash with no heat, so it's therefore pre-rinse. No tabs, of course, because you don't use detergent, but you can choose whether you want the top or bottom rack. Program 4 is your eco cycle. Tabs available, and you can choose whether you want the top or bottom rack. Program 5 is your speed 25-minute wash. With tabs it adds on 10 minutes rather than 5, but there's no half load option. Program 6 is delicates. You can either choose the top or bottom rack, and you can choose tabs, which again adds on 10 minutes. This is probably more likely down to the temperature it washes at. Program 7 is short time. Tabs adds on 5 minutes instead. There's no half load option. And we've got program 8, our good night cycle, which we're going to use. There's no half load option at all, and we can have tabs if we want. And we've got our start pulse here. It glows green when it's ready to set a cycle going. Let's open her up. Hand under here, pull towards you. Right, here is to refill your rinse aid. There's also a little marker inside to adjust and set it up. We've also got our detergent dispenser here. There's a little gap here, and this is for basically if you're using powder detergent and the whatever cycle you're using is running a pre-rinse, you can put detergent into here. Also, we've got a not max, minimum for detergent. So this is if you're using powder detergent. Minimum's about 20 grams, maximum's about 25. Obviously, tab's supposed to go in here, but look how tight it is, and this is quite annoying for one specific reason. Tabs have been around for like 20 years now, and when this dishwasher was made, tabs have been around for about 10 years. Like, come on, like, this should be standardized. Like, it should be big enough to fit a tab in regardless, since this is all we ever use nowadays. Anyway, you got this little blue tab here behind, and that will release the detergent tab. It is electronically controlled inside the machine, and that's what opens this up. But that's your manual release if you need to. Bottom rack, pull out. We've got our cutlery basket with these quite neat actually. Look, don't lose them, you just push it to one side. Do it with both sides. So you can choose whether you want to separate your cutlery or not. Also, because it goes anywhere along there, it means you can also take the cutlery basket out and you will gain more spaces to put plates in. Instead, it will only go on the front rack though. This rack, you can just fold down, put in a really big item on. They are pretty good, they are. And we've got our salt refill cap there, take that off and then put your salt in when it's empty. Then we've got our filter here, it's actually a double filter. 2 filters in there, as well as our metal mesh filter. So our wash blade, that just lifts off. Then we've got to check it for any debris inside the holes periodically. Same with the top one, that will unscrew and come down. You can check for debris in that. Again, the top rack comes out. It can be adjusted using these hand grips here. You can raise and lower it. We've also got these wine rack holders, which can be put away. Yeah, that's a bit of a fail, isn't it? There we go. It wasn't on properly, that was why. It can be lifted up, look, like that. Look, clipped out of the way. Cool. And then you've got a... I'm gonna be honest, this basket's looking a bit useless. Like, I'm not entirely sure how plates are supposed to sit in there. It's great for mugs, but I'm not sure about plates. Let's load her up then. We've got plenty of mugs. We need loading in. So we're going to belt them around. We've also got cutlery and he's washing. So we're full. We've actually got a full dishwasher for a change. Oh, just to also mention as well, this machine has a fitted WPS hose with it as well, unlike the full-size dishwasher. Interesting. The water is switched on. It worked before, and that's just not working. So an error code for no water is the wash light will flash. There we go. So despite having this WPS hose, they are still pretty bendable and you can still kink them. Yeah. Right, all done. Doesn't automatically go off. Open up the door, doesn't reset it either. Have a look then, see what happens. That knife isn't very clean. Well, that being said, I do not know, because we don't have any idea on how hot anything gets, you know, how hot any, how well, you know, it should be doing. That being said, whilst that knife wasn't very clean, so it's kind of winning and then kind of losing at the same time. Like that, see? So some mugs are fine and some mugs are just not okay at all. And for me, I'm going to put this down to not necessarily the machine. This has nothing to do with the machine. This has to do with the cycle we used. I'm not entirely sure what the cycle does, but when you can't really wash tea out, I'm not entirely sure it's that great. The other problem is, and this is more down to the design of the slimline, is that you've got a long rectangular base and then a square, shorter blade, which means that corners generally do get missed out a bit on dishwashers. Which would explain a bit, like why, say, like that's still dirty, but you've got then sort of that's clean and stuff like that. Sort of really hit and miss. You know, let's have a look at, say, that. Is that okay? I think it is. Now, like I said, the rest of it is minutes. So, we're going to give this out of 10 then. Well, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10. It does have more issues than the full-size brother of it, simply because of the way it's designed, because it's a slimline. So, also washing performance wise on the good night cycle isn't very good, but if you do use like intensive or auto normal, as you would do normally, or even short time can deliver quite good results, then actually the dishwasher is absolutely fine. I'm not entirely sure what good night is. Is it a normal cycle or an eco cycle or a delicate cycle? Bizarre. So there you go, 8 out of 10. Also, quality-wise, Hotpoints are still pretty good quality. The design's a bit cheap because it follows a Hotpoint design philosophy thing, but the actual build quality is pretty good. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already, and don't forget to leave us a comment down below. And I'll see you in the next video. So, bye for now.